I've had a few queries about card counting. There seems to be a bit of confusion about it. What is card counting and why is it important and how can we use it? Card counting is very simple really. Instead of having a positional spread where you have cards in fixed positions and you know this could be love, this could be work, this could be the past, this could be the future. You actually have the cards fanned out in a sequence. So we'll take these cards here, for example. Just it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this, and we lay them out, fan them out, so that you can see all the cards. This is why I use the Thoth Tarot deck, because the colourings and the designs make it very easy to see which card is which. If this was done in a Rider-Waite deck, the cards are so similar in colour. It's very difficult to say which one is which without having the whole picture of the card in front of you. So card counting is a very simple system whereby you're actually creating a story of how the cards connecting to each other. In one sense, the card connects to the card either side of it. So in these three cards here, we have the Moon card in the centre. One side is the Devil card, and one side is the Nine of Swords. So you know, it's not a particularly brilliant kind of sequence of cards we have there. But the thing is that centre card is influenced by the two cards either side. Now, what card counting says is that these cards actually influences other cards according to a very fixed system of numbering. So, in this example, I would take the top card to the Devil card. It's a zodiac card. It's Capricorn. So there are 12 signs of the zodiac. So we'd count 12. So the 12th card from this one is part of the story of what this card is trying to tell you in this reading. We count in both directions, but we just keep on counting in one direction. So these cards are actually in a circle. So you're starting here and working through, and you keep on counting basically until you come back to a card that you've already counted upon. And of course, you know, the sequence will continue. So we'll take this one here, the Devil card, and we'll count 12 in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Goes on to the Judgment card. Okay, so there's something to do with judgment, resolution of the situation. Now the Judgment card is count 3. It's a major card, but it's to do with the 3 mother letters, which is also the Fool and the Hangman. So with the Fool, the Hangman, and the Judgment or Aeon cards, we always count 3. So count from that card 1, 2, 3. Goes on to the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords, all the court cards, queens, knights, princes, all count 4. The princesses or the pages, they're going to count 7. So for the knight, we count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're back on this card here. So we know that starting from this card, if we count in this direction, we end up back on here. It's almost like a closed circuit, and nothing else happens. If we go from the other direction, let's see what happens. So we count this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We go on to the 10 of discs. For the minor cards, it's basically the values. So it's the 10, so we're going to count 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go on to the 8 of Wands, which is an 8, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're back on the 10 of discs. So this is actually quite a simple sequence of cards here. So then we can put a story to these cards. Starting from the Devil, we went to the Judgment. This is about the Devil. The Aeon card has the 8 of Wands next to it, which is about some kind of communication that's going on, emails or something like that, which relates to the Knight of Swords. It may be some domestic problem. He's got problem in a relationship because the Knight is next to the Prince of Swords. And so it may be worldly to do his work as well, because the Devil is strong here. The Devil can also be love affairs, so maybe there's some intense passion or deciding whether or not he wants to finish this relationship or not. So if you count the other way, we went on to the 10 of coins, the Ten of Coins, which is about money and finances, and that's next to the Eight of Discs and the Queen of Wands. So clearly there's some issue about money and finances going on as well. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, on to the Eight of Wands. We had the Eight of Wands in the other direction, next to the Judgment card. So there is something about emails and communication going on here. We count 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, on to Ten of Coins. So he's in some kind of bind about finances. Maybe one woman's got, maybe he's got two women in his life. One's costing a lot of money and the other one isn't, but he'd rather spend more time with the one who has the money and the finances. Maybe she has the money, and this other poor woman, the younger one, she doesn't. It's we'd have to go through the cards. Now the interesting thing is, of course, is that you can't count from any card. We'll do the Princess of Swords because she seems to be connected to all this. There's the Princess of Swords here. And where's she going? So for the princesses we count 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Goes on to the Eight of Cups. She's depressed. She's depressed about relationships. She's depressed about this man who she sees as the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Swords can also be the Knight of Wands because she sees him as a man of action. And the Knight of Wands goes on to the Queen of Wands. So, because you count 4, Queen of Wands is there. That also, because the Queen of Wands also counts 4, she counts back onto him. So there's this really intense business or love affair kind of thing going on here as well. And you count 4 from the Queen, 2, 3, 4. She goes on to the Moon card, the Nine of Swords, and so this could well be about work and things. The Nine of Swords we mentioned is next to the Princess of Wands. So it may well be that the Princess of Wands is this younger woman that she sees as an enemy, the older woman, and she sees a lot of deception going on as well. So in another video I just done, I talked about significators, and as you can see, it's just using the cards to count to tell a story, and we're just using the cards we count onto and the cards either side to give a bit more background information. We're building up a story, and we can do it from different perspectives, different court cards, to see how they interact, or they avoid each other, or they clash, or they just nothing else seems to happen. Let's look at this Princess of Swords again. We'll count in the opposite direction just to see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, straight onto the Queen of Wands. Now, the Princess of Swords rather, connects straight onto the Queen of Wands. But the Queen of Wands, because she counts 4, doesn't. And the Queen of Wands in that direction actually counts onto the Moon card, deception. There's all sort of strange things going on here. The Queen of Wands, of course, goes on to the Knight of Wands, because they count 4, and he counts 4, which actually goes, the card next to him is the Ace of Cups Indolence. We come across that card just now. And he counts onto the Five of Swords, which is defeat. He doesn't know what to do about this relationship, which is confirmed by recounting 5 from the Five of Swords, 2, 3, 4, 5, onto the Princess of Swords. Now, when these cards, you count from one card and you end up back on the same one, it's a locked situation. The person's going round and round in circles, going nowhere. And this is how we learn to read tarot cards using a counting technique. It's a very powerful system because we can just, even without knowing the meanings of the cards very much, we can very simply build up stories. And if you can imagine, if you're talking, you can imagine how you talk about this story differently. If the client in front of you was the Princess of Swords, or if she is the Queen of Wands, the older woman, there'd be a totally different story you'd tell, wouldn't you? You'd have to kind of filter things out or just say things in a different way. Or if you had the Knight of Wands, the man in front of you, he's a kind of a lucky guy, he's got 2 women in his life, but he doesn't know what to do about it. What advice would you give? How would you sort it out? All these kind of things, just by talking to the person and looking at how these cards interact with each other, you're building up the story. You're allowing the tarot cards to present to you the situation and how the situation is changing, evolving. There's so many factors involved in here, but just very simply and just very easily, you can tell a story that that person can relate to and give them options and alternatives about how to get out of them. That would be a subject of another lesson.